The crystalline halls of the Zathrene Empire stretched endlessly, their walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that spoke of a civilization millions of years old. Hannah stood at the observation deck, her breath fogging the transparent aluminum as she gazed at the twin suns setting over the capital world. 3 months aboard the alien flagship, and she still couldn't quite believe humanity had been invited to the Galactic Council. "Ambassador Chen requests your presence," Evan said, appearing beside her with his usual quiet efficiency. The young linguist had proven invaluable during first contact, his gift for languages making him indispensable to the delegation. Hannah nodded, straightening her uniform. "The Queen wants to meet with us again?" "Privately this time. Just you and me." Evan's expression was unreadable, but Hannah caught the slight tension in his shoulders. They walked through corridors that defied Earth's geometry, spaces that somehow contained more volume than their dimensions suggested. The Zathrene had mastered physics in ways humanity was only beginning to comprehend. Their ships folded space, their medicine could regrow limbs, and their art existed in dimensions humans could barely perceive. Queen Velshara waited in what her attendants called the Chamber of Contemplation. The Zathrene monarch was magnificent in her natural form, a being of flowing energy contained within a crystalline exoskeleton, her thoughts visible as cascading colors within her transparent body. She stood nearly 3 meters tall, her 4 primary appendages ending in delicate manipulators that could craft wonders or command fleets with equal precision. Humans Hannah and Evan. The Queen's voice resonated directly in their minds, translated by the neural interfaces they wore. "I have observed your species for these past cycles. You are puzzling." Hannah bowed slightly, the gesture of respect they'd been taught. "Your Majesty honors us with her attention. How may we serve?" The Queen's colors shifted, curiosity mixed with something that might have been confusion. "Your species is young, barely 10,000 of your years since you discovered agriculture. You have not mastered gravitic manipulation. Your lifespans are absurdly brief. Your bodies are fragile, prone to countless maladies." She paused, her internal light dimming. "And yet, you create beauty that moves even the eldest races to tears. Your music, your art, your literature, they spread through the council worlds like wildfire. Why?" Evan glanced at Hannah, uncertain. This wasn't a diplomatic question. It was something deeper, something personal. "I do not understand beauty," Velshara continued, and for the first time Hannah heard vulnerability in the ancient being's voice. "My people have existed for 47 million of your years. We have composed symphonies that last centuries. We have built structures that would make your grandest cathedrals look like children's toys. Yet when I experienced your Beethoven, when I witnessed your Michelangelo, when I read your Dickinson..." The colors within her form swirled chaotically. "I felt something I have never felt. And I do not know what it was." Hannah felt her throat tighten. Here was a being who had witnessed empires rise and fall, who had traveled between galaxies, asking her, a 32-year-old xenoanthropologist from Seattle, about beauty. Before she could formulate an answer, Evan spoke. "Your Majesty, may I ask you something?" His voice was steady but gentle. "When you create your symphonies that last centuries, do you ever worry you won't finish them?" The Queen's colors flickered. "No. I will likely exist for another 100,000 of your years, barring accident. And your structures that dwarf our cathedrals, do you build them knowing they might not stand?" "They are built to endure until the heat death of this universe." Evan nodded slowly. "That's the difference, Your Majesty. That's why you don't understand our beauty." He took a breath. "We humans know we're going to die. Not abstractly, not as a distant possibility, but certainly, we know it from the moment we're old enough to understand. We get maybe 80 or 90 years if we're lucky, and most of that time we're learning how to be human in the first place." He walked closer to the Queen, his voice gaining intensity. "Beethoven went deaf, Your Majesty. He wrote some of his greatest symphonies when he couldn't hear a single note. Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel while lying on his back in pain for 4 years, knowing he might die before finishing it. Emily Dickinson wrote poems that no one read until after her death. They created beauty while staring into the void, while watching their bodies fail, while knowing everything they loved would end." Hannah found herself nodding, tears pricking her eyes as Evan continued. "Our beauty isn't beautiful because it's perfect or eternal. It's beautiful because it's desperate. Every song, every painting, every story, it's us screaming into the darkness, 'I was here. I felt something. I mattered. We make beauty because we have to, because we know our time is running out, because we need to leave something behind that says we existed, that we loved, that we hurt, that we dreamed. The queen stood motionless, her colors frozen. You build to last forever, Evan said softly. We build knowing it will crumble, and maybe that's why our music sounds different. Every note carries the weight of mortality. Every brushstroke is defiance against oblivion. We don't have the luxury of eternity, so we pour everything we are into the brief moment we have. The silence stretched. Then slowly, Velshara's colors began to shift. Deep blues and purples that the translation interface struggled to interpret. Sorrow? Understanding? Something beyond human classification? I see, the queen whispered. You are dying, all of you, always. And your beauty is your rebellion against that death. Not rebellion, Hannah said, finding her voice at last. Acceptance. We know we can't win against time, but we can fill our brief existence with meaning. We can love knowing we'll lose. We can create knowing it won't last. That's what makes us human, Your Majesty. Not our weakness, but what we do in spite of it. The queen was quiet for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice carried a weight it hadn't before. The council debates whether humanity should be granted full membership. Many say you are too young, too volatile, too fragile. Her colors brightened. But I will advocate for you. Because a species that creates such beauty while facing the abyss, such a species will teach us things we have forgotten in our millions of years. Things about urgency, about meaning, about the value of a single moment. As Hannah and Evan left the chamber of contemplation, walking back through the impossible corridors toward their quarters, neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Hannah said, "That was quite a speech." Evan shrugged, a slight smile on his face. I just told her the truth. We're all going to die. Might as well make something beautiful along the way. Above them, through the transparent sections of the hull, stars wheeled in their eternal dance. Somewhere out there, humanity's small blue marble spun through the void, full of people who would live and love and create and die, each one burning bright for their brief moment. And somehow that was enough.